it's executive producer RJ here, just letting you know with either my face or my voice, depending on if you're watching the video or listening to the audio version, that things are going to be a little bit different in terms of how we're putting out the podcast. If you listen to the end of this episode, it will explain everything. Now, without further ado, here's the show.
Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined by RJ from Do You Take Cards? RJ, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic today, Matt. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Got a new card approval just before the weekend started, so I'm waiting for that. American Express seems to be over-promising and under-promising and over-delivering. So we'll see when I get the card.
How does it feel to be on the MR train now, Matt? I know this is not your preferred train, but it is a train.
I'm just going to ram those points into Hilton, so I'll probably just be fine. So we'll move on with Tariq. Tariq, how are you today, sir?
I am good. And sticking to the topics of cards, I'm slowly chipping away at my sub for the IHG Premier business. And I think by middle of next month, I should probably hit it. So gonna have a little over 140,000 IHG points to play with and start dabbling in that brand.
Fantastic. And we're also joined, as always, by, I'm just going to start calling him Professor Lonnie, but Lonnie from the Call Me Lonnie channel. How are you today, sir?
Why professor, may I ask?
Oh, you have all the knowledge, and you just happen to drop it.
Professors drop knowledge? Or do they give it willingly to their pupils?
You know, considering what sort of student I was, I can't fully answer that properly.
All right, take notes, everybody. Grab your notebooks. But I'm doing all right. Today was a good day. I'm not going to be mad at it. And to quote Ice Cube, that is. But yeah, and you mentioned Hilton, because I'll go ahead and drop the bomb right here. And this is not a flex alert, but I've already talked about over the last 2 weeks. If you have a United card, if you're not booking like crazy right now, you're literally leaving money and trips on the table. I have 2 trips at 2 different Waldorf Astorias, of course, Hilton properties, and I'm looking very forward to them.
Fantastic. Yes, I did mention that I got a new credit card before the beginning of the weekend. I was approached by American
We weren't
Express.
recording when you said that, so I just said a whole bunch of stuff completely out of context. I just realized that.
No worries. So I recently was approved for the American Express Blue Business Plus. Got a nice welcome offer, an elevated welcome offer of 25,000 points on $3,000 in spend. And I can always move those points to Hilton, whether it's a transfer bonus or the regular 2-to-1. And since my previous card with American Express was the Hilton Honors, Hilton is a brand I like. So I have an easy place to put those points, and I do have some relatively large spend to hit with that card. And Blue Business Plus, no annual fee, seemed to be a win all around. Oh, and American Express decided to give me a $23,000 credit limit on that card.
Nice. I will add that in one of my Waldorf Astoria bookings, no one is a fan of the Amex travel portal. It's usually pretty bad. But if you have Amex Platinum, I got 30% off from the points redemption itself. It actually made it a very good redemption without having to transfer them out to Hilton. So FYI for all y'all listeners out there, go check it out.
And if you have the Platinum card, you have gold status with Hilton that gets honored automatically through the Amex portal.
Yes, sir.
So there we go. We're going to move on now to viewer questions, and we have a few left over from last week. We are going to start with SpaethCo's question. It's a little layered, so I'm going to read it word for word, and I'm hopefully going to do it justice with an answer. I have no idea how I'm going to fare here. So from SpaethCo, how do you value points when using them to top up a loyalty account? Say you want to take a flight that has a cash price of either 650 or 50,000 points, 1.3 cents per point. You currently have a balance that has airline with that airline of 40,000 points or miles, and the airline will sell you miles directly for 3 cents each. Do you transfer 10,000 points over to make that redemption instead of paying cash? And if so, do you value those 10,000 points A at $650 because it saved you from spending $650 out of pocket at the time at that point in time? B, $300 because that's how much it would have cost you to purchase the last 10,000 directly from the airline, or C, $130 because the whole redemption was 1.3 cents per point, so 10,000 points is only worth $130. For this level of math and actuarialness, we're going to turn over to Lonnie to start with an answer on this one while I try to figure it out.
Man, there are some layers to this question. There's layers in the layers, and then there's layers in the A, B, and C options. So I'm going to pull a math, not a math, a mat, and math my secondary answer in my head while I give you my A first or primary answer. My first and primary answer is I literally just went through this with all, like I said, you got a United card and you're not booking with United right now, you're missing out because they are cheap, 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 cheap. But I literally just did this the other night, booking another trip where I didn't run out of points or anything like that, but very similar to this scenario, I still have my $200 airline credit on my platinum card. And so what I ended up doing was very similar to this. Like instead of doing that last quarter mile of that 10,000 of, in the question here, I just did points and mile redemption together, which is available in many different hotel and airline partners. United's one of them. I know IHG does it as well, where you can split your miles, your points and miles slash cash. And so I just did the cash for the 200 that I have left on my airline credit on my platinum card, and that of course zeroed everything out. So that's personally what I did. Not to say I didn't have enough miles, but I wanted to make sure I used that particular $200 before the end of the year, which is almost a quarter away, a couple of more months away. Now, that's my primary answer. My secondary answer to actually go with the options that were provided to us between A, B, and C, I would probably, I hate to say it because I know I'm going to get some heat, but I'd probably go with C, the $130 because the whole redemption is 1.3 cents per point. So 10K points is only worth $130. I only say that because it's literally the most straightforward without trying to like finagle this plus that plus, this in parentheses, subsigned or divided by 2, carry the 1. It's just straight up. And I like simple math. Not that I can't sit down with my pen and my pad and my calculator, like that's on every single electronic device that I have. But if I were to actually look at it this way, like, 130, cool, go for it. So that's my answer.
Thank you very much. And I'll go next to Tariq.
So before I give one of the multiple choice answers, I'm going to give the answer that I align with the most, just personally, just off of the experience I have with Lonnie. And to me, it doesn't really matter what I value the points at, because whatever you did, you were able to take the trip. And that is the most important thing in the entire thing. So for me, at this point, it could be priceless. But in the nature of answering the question, I am leaning towards C because of the redemption, but you could really do like math it because it's the points, it's 3 cents per point, so it's $300, but then that's like you're saving like $350 because that would have been $650 if you didn't include if you save the difference between paying the cash booking and just doing the top up. So I feel like it should be like a letter answer like D or E, where it's like both B and C, but I don't think we're like on SAT level questions. So yeah, we're just gonna go C because I like simplicity as much as Lonnie does.
There we go. RJ, your thoughts here?
D, I have never done a cent per point math in my life, and I am not starting today.
Absolutely fair. So I'm going to approach this in a bit of a weird way, and I did a little bit of math, the simplest amount of math that I possibly could. So I'm going to approach this as I've got 40,000 in the airline account. If I have an acceptable to me amount of points in my transfer currency, I will transfer over to the 10,000 points and just go with option C. If I need to buy the points, I'm gonna pull this curveball out and say I'm not going to spend $300 on the points, even though I'm spending 3 cents per point. I'm going to look for a way to get a little extra cash back from the sale of the points by exploring. I've recently discovered Top Cashback, and Top Cashback does the points.com site service used for purchasing Hilton points, IHG points, whatever points. So if I can purchase the points through points.com, I'm going to get 2.52 cents, 2.52% back on the sale. It's $300, 2.52%, and I'm going to use like a 2% card probably to make that sale, to make that purchase. So more like 5% off. So I'll say I spent less than $300. If I transferred the points over, it's C. If I had to buy the points, it would be B, but I'm not valuing it $300. I'm valuing at whatever my final discount would be using Top Cashback and the card that I'm inevitably using, which would most likely be a 2% card.
Rakuten can also do points.com, and you can get member rewards points and use a Chase card to buy them. So you can get all sorts of points from the same thing.
I was going to say the one that you brought up, or is it points.me or points.com, or if they're not the same thing, one of them actually codes as travel as well. So you buy points and it codes as travel. So you're like getting a hat on a hat.
I don't remember which one it is, the codes as travel. I have to double check. The last time I bought points was sometime last year to buy Hyatt points to get started. So it's been a little while. But purchasing your points is always, you're going to spend the money on it. I'm going to look for ways to stack that purchase just so that I can get a little bit extra value. So if I have the points and I'm willing to transfer the points over just to get the redemption done, I'm going to value it all at 130 because that's the point value of the 10K points. If I have to buy the points, obviously I'm going to value it at 300, but I'm going to find a way to take a haircut on that 300. Do what I can. So, SpaethCo, I hope that answers your question. But that is a very much an onion question, and please keep sending more. So we'll go on to the next question. We are seeing tiered subs or sign-up bonuses and sign-up bonuses with bigger spend requirements. Do you think sign-up bonus spend requirements are going to keep growing or duration, or neither? Or do people like Barclays have one transaction sign-up bonuses? And this is from AP. So do I think sign-up bonus spend requirements are going to keep growing or duration? I think so. This is interesting to consider because there are cards that have 3-month welcome offers. There are cards that have 6-month welcome offers. And there are some cards that typically had 3-month welcome offers, but are doing special 6-month welcome offers, like my Chasing Cash. I'm going to keep that blurred for now because the cards are on the front, the numbers are on the front, and I don't need anyone knowing those. So that is moved to, that currently has a 6-month option. As for the increased spend, I think there's going to be a lot more increased spend, especially on the American Express side with their business card products, because we're seeing 250,000 point membership reward point offers on the American Express Business Platinum. I wouldn't be surprised to see 300, 350 in the next little bit, but that's going to require something. That'll probably require something like 25,000 in spend. As to the Barclays transaction, That is only available on one card that I'm aware of, and that is the um, Barclays Red Aviator card, the American Airlines card that Barclays issues. They have more traditional sub welcome offers with their other cards. The JetBlue Business required 4,000 in spend. The Hawaiian Business card requires 2,000. So, why do people like the Barclays? Uh, why do people like Barclays have one transaction? So, I don't know why they do it only with that card. I think it's just that card is a weird relic from the U.S. Airways days, and it's just its own special little use case. And they just want to get as many signups for that card as they can, and they know that no one's going to use that card afterwards, so they have to get volume. Yeah, I went on a long time on that one. RJ, your thoughts there?
So I do think there's an upper limit specifically for personal cards of what you can reasonably ask for in a sub and expect anybody to hit it. Now, whether they want us to hit it or not, is remain to be seen, but you need a certain number of people to hit it in order for anybody to continue to sign up. If you put it at, 6,000 in 3 months and, a third of the expected people sign up that would typically sign up for one of your cards, that's not going to continue to be the sub for very long, right? So I do think that on the personal side, there are definitely more limits to what you can reasonably ask. I think the business side will continue to grow. I also think that credit cards, Amex is the one that I know the most, and Chase from, everybody's anecdotes, they are perfectly fine with you getting a business card and using it for personal spend as long as you're paying your bills, because there's a lot of things that are excluded on a business card as far as protections go, fraud goes, all of those things. So really, they're like, hey, we asked you if you had a business, we asked you this, that, and the other, and they can jack up the spend on an ink card or one of their business cards and really face no repercussions because, yeah, a 50,000 minimum spend in 3 or 6 months for 500,000 points could absolutely happen. And if you have a legitimate business, that may be perfectly reasonable for you, right? So I see the business side exploding more than the personal side, or the personal side getting those 3 months, $3,000, you get half the points, 6 months, $8,000, you get the other half, becoming much more common because it lets the bank be like, well, if 75% of people hit the full sub, that's 25 that don't, that's, we're getting all of the fees without having to pay out the points. So I can see it becoming more layered on the personal side and just exploding on the business.
And Barclays, I still think is just a weird one-off. Lonnie, your thoughts on this one?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, they're going to grow. Sign-up bonuses are going to modify and change, but also the duration is part of the sign-up bonus now. It's part of the spend requirement, the time frame, and all that other stuff. And we're already starting to see this, and this is why I'm like, it's gonna change. And it's not just like with one or two cards. RJ just made a really great point with for example, the ink cards where they were just kind of like flat, spend X dollars and X amount of time, get your points, see you later. But now it's like, do half of it in 3 months, and then you get the remainder of it if you do something else in the next 3 months. So now it's like a 6 months. We also just saw this recently on the IHG card, which I think that offer is still available. If you wanted to go with the standard 140K offers, like $3,000 in 3 months. But if you wanted the 5 free night offer, oh, they changed that to 4 months, but they also added $1,000 to it. And what I think, especially, and I know these are all Chase branded cards, but I I would go as far to say that these banks are starting to play around until they find a really, really sweet spot. As RJ mentioned on the business side, especially, let's just go to Ink Business Preferred, which at one point, like I think the spend requirement right now is $8,000. It was used to be higher than that. And then nobody applied for it. Yeah, like 10, you're right. And then I guarantee you it has way more applications now at $8,000 than it did at 10. And then now they're bumped it up to 120K. And now everybody's talking. Go literally Chase business card, put it in your YouTube search, and I guarantee you find 12 different YouTube creators that are talking about it and saying that you need to use the referral links. Nothing against the hustle. Use my referral links in almost every single one of my videos. I'm not knocking anyone's hustle. But to answer the question, yes, sign up bonuses are going to change, especially as knowledge about what we know and what we talk about in this community starts to spread. You got to remember, there's new members to the community, the ones that we know and the ones that we don't know every single day. Someone else is trying to figure out, how can I get another credit card? How can I understand this credit card game? Use these points and miles. There's so many different travel channels that talk about them now. They even have dual channels. They'll have a travel channel and then they'll have the credit card channel. So it's only makes sense that this is going to evolve. That's just the way that it's going to go. And of course, there's also Amex. So I don't want to leave RJ out with, Amex always offers 6 months, but sometimes it's a little, well, we know their sign up bonuses, the actual, the points that you get is never the same. Never accept the first offer with Amex. You know what I'm getting at here. Yeah. The incognito hidden offer, the third offer is always the best offer, is what I'm saying. Now, that's where I sit on where these subs are going, or sign up bonuses, as the acronym states, where they're going. And I can see them getting different as time goes on. In 2025, I guarantee you will, as RJ mentioned, on the business side, I guarantee we start seeing this on the personal side. As for the Barclays thing, I don't know anything about that. I don't pay attention to Barclays, never had a Barclays card, not really interested in one either. But to hear about, one transaction and get your sign up bonus, if it's like spend $3,000, then yeah, like I would recommend everyone do that with any sign up bonus. Try to get in the least amount of transactions as possible to get that sucker over with. Um, I think I had mentioned, not on this podcast, but I mentioned in a live before, especially with the question from Chad Pennycuff, who is the DVC guy. It's like, if you're going to Orlando, going to Disney, you should sign up for a new credit card. You're going to hit that sucker before you get home, period. You're going to hit that sign up bonus. It's one of those types of scenarios. So if it's anything like that with the Barclays thing, then yeah, try to get as much as you can as fast as you can. And if you're going to stay on property in Orlando at Disney resorts and end up spending $7,000, use that brand new card and get it over with.
So before we jump to Tariq, just to give you guys a little bit of context on this Red Aviator card, the Red Aviator card will give you 70,000 points. Typically, will give you 70,000 points on one purchase. It does not have a financial minimum or maximum. This is the stick of gum credit card, basically. All you have to do is buy that stick of gum and pay your annual fee in the first billing cycle, 70,000 American Airline miles. That's why people love that card. Why Barclays continues to do this is, I'm sure they see the signups. I'm sure they have to pay out the points from American Airlines, and they don't see any further activity from most people. But yeah, that is a weird one, and I don't know why they keep doing it, and I don't know how it's sustainable for Barclays, but everybody loves that one while complaining about having to make 5 transactions without having to, pay for a banana.
Now that you've explained it, it's really hard to be mad at that. I'm gonna file that one and get yours and get out of here.
Yep. And Tariq, your thoughts on this one?
So I am just going to start off and not address the Amex side of sign-up bonuses. That's more RJ's wheelhouse. I'll let her handle that. That's the Amex Delta Queen. I'm not even going to try to touch that territory. With Chase, I know Lonnie, you touched on it a lot already. I've seen it a lot just with cards. We've obviously mentioned the ink cash going from 6,000 in 3 months to effectively 6,000 in 6 months, where it'd be like the 3,000 the first 3 months. You get, I think it's 35,000 points, and then the remaining 40,000 is the next 3,000 in the other 3 months. I even got the Sapphire when I got the Sapphire Preferred back in May. It was on a 2-tiered sign-up bonus where I got it with the 75,000 points, for the 4,000 the first 3 months, and then the next 3 months spend another 2,000, I think it was, and then in the next 2,000 next 6 months, I got the other 10,000 points. We've seen the Hyatt card is just notorious for just having the 2-tiered sign up bonus, which most people don't like. It's not really a great card to earn. And I mean, even now with the World Hyatt business card, it's the same thing. So I think that it's going to, like, banks are going to start doing it more. And the way I see it, because it kind of helps mitigate the churners that aren't just going to just smash and grab the sub. Like, they're at least going to put the spend in 3 months or even 6 months, or they're going to really try to get as much spend as they can. And not everybody can just drop for 8, 10, 12, $15,000 in one purchase, whether it be they just don't have it or their credit limit they don't have the credit limit for that. So I think it helps with that. So at least there's still more spend within the first year in case those are the churners that want to do the smash and grab. Obviously, with some cards like Sapphires, where you can only get the bonus once every 4 years after you hit the bonus. So I think that's where we're going with that. Regarding the Barclays Aviator card, I was just so curious on it because it is such a weird card for that. And I was looking at the current one, at least public offer, 60,000 advantage miles. And of course, you get the free check bag. Just pay whatever, go get your banana, and then, pay the $99 annual fee, and then, get your miles for that. And really, I mean, we all know, like, most airline cards don't earn that well to begin with. But I mean, this one's just, like, especially bad. I mean, you get your 2x miles on American, and then it's just like 1x everywhere else. I mean, you get your check bag. So I guess the way Barclays sees it and why they still do it, I mean, they're going to get the $99 because you're going to pay $99 for 60,000 American miles, and, they'll get whatever revenue they get for that. And then whatever the slight fee on the banana that you pay for at the supermarket. So I think for that, it's just fine for them. And I mean, if their personal applications or anything like their business applications, you're gonna have to go through like a blood ritual just to get the cards. So yeah, there's that.
Now that I think about it, world's most expensive banana, singular banana, possibly.
$100 banana. Yeah, you're gonna spend $100 on a banana.
Yep.
You must have been shopping at Erewhon.
Yes. No. Never.
Nah, me, it's just Whole Foods.
If you want to hit your sub, shop at Erewhon.
Yep. Yep. Oh boy. All right. We're going to move on to our next question. That is a question for RJ specifically. This is coming from KitKat, who was just on recently with Anthony Venture on a Fantastic Live. Knowing your limitations on Sky Miles and the increased cost of maintaining Delta status, would you ever see yourself moving your loyalty, or is your semi-loyalty purely due to geographic constraints?
So I do not care about status because I booked first class. And I mean that, like, seriously, logistically. There is nothing that status is going to get me with Delta that a first class ticket doesn't, right? Like, maybe around the peripherals, but, like, for the most part, I buy first class. I know exactly what I'm getting. I don't have to worry about upgrades. I have set as Lonnie and I have both talked about, my travel day is easier because I know what I'm getting. I don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to get upgraded so my bag is, this amount or this amount. I am in first class. This bag, if I check it, is free. I don't have to worry. So that is part of why I picked Delta. I do technically have the ability to do United. United is more expensive. A United business and a Delta first class out of the regional airport I fly out are roughly the same price. So for me, I rather have the Delta first class because that way I can set my travel day and I know what I'm going to get every time. And to me, that consistency of I know what I'm going to get, I don't have to rely on status to upgrade me. I don't have to rely on things like that, because the planes that fly out of our regional airport are smaller. So there's less first class to upgrade people to begin with. So the chances of me getting upgraded are going to be smaller to begin with because there's less physical seats to do so. So for me, it was a money thing. It was a what do I buy and what do I want to sort of have my travel day look like? If tomorrow United changed the pricing structure out of my regional airport and it was exactly the same as Delta, I would have a lot to consider. Would I consider going with more Chase cards in the future? Probably. To have sort of a more solid plan B structure than I do now. My plan B structure now is, do I want to take a train to the city? Which is not the best plan B structure in the world, but it is what it is. Or do I want to fly to Atlanta and then fly where I actually want to go, which is also sometimes has happened in the past. Or Detroit, both of them are Delta hubs, so they both work. So yes, it's partly due to location. Delta is by far the best airport for me to fly out of in terms of pricing and all of that. Partly it's due to just I buy first class. I get Delta Lounge because I have a platinum. I get the Centurion Lounge. If I fly Delta, I know I'm going to have a lounge basically where I'm going for 95% of my connections because they go through Delta hubs to get to the final location. So a lot would have to change and none of it is in my control except for potentially moving, but I don't have any plans of moving downstate or out of state anytime soon. If I moved, it'd probably be to Vermont, and that would be worse for my commute to an airport, not better.
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say your loyalty is just based on what's there, because if for whatever reason Delta left, you'd be up a creek without a paddle.
If Delta
Basically.
left, I would go to United and just pay a little bit more. Like it would
Yep.
suck from an economic standpoint, but United is there and they do fly almost everywhere I want to go. It's just a question of it's more expensive, and I would still get first class because I'm me. Like I fly enough that I know myself at this point and I know the level of things I expect, and I am willing to pay for that expectation. And that is, so this is a bit of a tangent, but one of the things that drives me crazy in the credit card community is people who expect a certain level of standard but are unwilling to pay for that standard and expect to be upgraded and want the standard of that upgrade, and if they don't get upgraded still expect the standard of that upgrade. And you see that a lot, especially if you're traveling. Like if somebody is platinum or whatever and they don't get an upgrade, they get very upset and expect to still be treated like they got that upgrade. So I buy the thing I want, and if I get an upgrade past that, right, like I just booked a trip to Nashville. I booked a very nice room. It wasn't the full-on suite. If I do get upgraded to the suite, awesome. If I don't get upgraded to the suite, I still booked the room I wanted. Like I didn't go all out and book the suite. If I get upgraded, cool. If I don't, I don't. And I'm okay because I booked a room I wanted. And that's a thing I wish more people in the community would do, because status is great, but status only will take you so far if everything above you was actually booked.
I have a question for you, RJ. Just, being devil's advocate for United over here after everything
Okay.
you said. If you had an option or path to United status outside of just,
Mhm.
getting your PQPs, your premier qualifying points, which are the points required for United status for those that aren't aware of how to earn United status. But so going back to you, RJ, if you had a path like, you got gold status with a credit card of any kind,
Mhm.
which now gave you Saver Award and brought your financials to even or even lower on the United side, would that change your opinion to the answer you just gave?
Probably, but I would also have to redo my strategy around which cards I got, because I'm so heavily invested in Amex, and Amex is the only Delta transfer partner. So I would have to make nice with Chase, which I'm not on like a bad list with Chase, but I am very far over 524. And I have the luxury right now of not caring about 524. The only number I'm running up against is Amex's 5 credit card limit, which 2 of them will be gone next March. So that will no longer be an issue. So yes, I would have to reevaluate, but it would change so much of my strategy in terms of how I lived my life that may or may not, after I did the reconfig, be worth it, right? It may be like, okay, if I get this credit card, and this credit card in 2 years or a year and a half at this point, yeah, that would be great. But I would have to I'm 18 months away from being under 524. So I would really have to game plan out to that point and then figure it out from there. So yeah, like money is the factor here. So if that money changed, my potential loyalty could change. But then it becomes, okay, so to sort of do the full extension, I would drop Hilton as one of my preferred because I could save and do just Marriott on both partners, and then I wouldn't have to worry about Hilton. So then it becomes like my entire strategy changes. And then maybe I do take a look at IHG or Hyatt because I'm already putting so much in. So it changes so much of it. Delta really is the linchpin of all of my strategy because a lot of my travel includes a flight. I'm booking cruises, so I'm going to England, I'm going to Vancouver. We just booked an Alaskan cruise for 5 days with my family that I'm very excited about. So a lot of my travel is flight based, which is fun and I enjoy flying, but that makes Delta even more important than it would in another situation. So yeah, it would be a definite discussion, and I would be in your DMs a lot and and trying to figure out all this, because the nice part is like I know information about status. I don't have to worry about status right now. So I couldn't tell you what platinum with Delta gets because I have never had to worry about having platinum with Delta or having it with United or having it with anybody else. So it would require a lot more research in terms of where do I need to get in status? Where do I need to get with cards? How do I have to change which cards I have? Which Amex cards would I get rid of to go to another, carrier or another bank's cards? It would be a lot. This entire podcast would be like 7 topics of mine in a row of just like processing my feelings like therapy.
I really respect that answer, and you really touched on something that I think, especially for the beginner folk, the novices that are listening to us, looking to get started or build their initial, finalize or finish building their initial strategy, is going back to pick your partners. And our first question of the night is: when you're about chest deep, neck deep, it is really hard to pivot, like really, really hard. And I didn't even think about that when I was asking you this follow question of, you would literally have to start all the way over from scratch. And not to get selfish here, but I recently got a question where someone had asked me, like, how come I don't have any Capital One cards? Because it's like, I can't start from zero. The Capital One just can't do anything for me with my A or B strategy, and I don't need a C strategy. So you touched on something really big there, on how hard it is to pivot once you like get a strategy that works for you. A and B is easy, but to start completely from zero or to create a C and D strategy, because now, like you said, you're putting layers into it. It's not just about points and miles and status anymore. Now you got a whole new layer of financials to actually earn those points and miles to use them again to get to that redemption stage again. So yeah, thanks. You opened me up a little bit there. You can always
Del-
slide into my DMs.
Delta needs to just never leave the upstate New York area, which I don't think they will because they're by far the largest airline out of that. And people need to get to the capital of New York to do things from the city, and not everybody wants to be on a 4.5 to 5 hour Amtrak ride.
I just have to say one about the pivoting. that I'm surprised I didn't even mention when I pivoted from my partners. It was easy for me because I went from Chase partners to Chase partners. So I didn't have to start from scratch. I think I just, just stopped redeeming the Southwest and just started redeeming to United and started doing mileage plus X, this, that, and the third. Also, one other thing, RJ, that was probably the longest way, the most elaborate way you could have just said no to Kit Kat's answer. Because like we already knew it was gonna be no. Like you're too deep into Delta. And so I was like, obviously, we're doing it for the podcast. People need their the explanation as to why, but we're what is this, episode 9? You were gonna say no.
Somebody listening is their first time listening, Tariq, and
Yeah.
that's what she did it for.
So the funny part is the best next partner down actually probably wouldn't be United in terms of like where things. I have to have a transfer. I don't get to have a direct flight unless I'm flying to like New York City, maybe Detroit or Atlanta, right? Like those are basically the places I get a direct flight to. The next best partner is probably JetBlue, which is also an Amex partner. A terrible redemption for Amex. Like, I'm not suggesting anybody ever transfer Amex points to them unless you need like 1,000 to just top up. But it would probably be JetBlue, and at that point, I would just take a ride to the city and get out of a real airport. So yeah, it's Delta's not gonna leave up here because of a lot of reasons. So yeah, I am lucky that Delta is so entrenched in here and they're not leaving anytime soon. United would probably leave before Delta would, but I don't think either of them are going anywhere.
Well, if you were gonna consider JetBlue, I mean, you could start with City. I mean, it's starting from the beginning, but you're not. I don't think you're as restricted to rules.
Tariq, stop talking.
I'm not. You know what? I don't care. I'm gonna talk.
Go to the
I
corner.
refuse it. No, I refuse.
JetBlue is
what?
also a Chase partner, by the way. So if you have a Chase transfer card, you're good. Sorry about that, Tariq. All right, so let's go on to the next question. We've got one from Keith, Keith Best, loyal viewer to all of us at this point. In your opinion, what is the most underrated non-annual fee, non-attune card out there? I feel called out. Mine is the Chasing Cash, 5 times on streaming, phone services, and cable, and up to 25K of Visa and MasterCard gift cards at office supply stores, which you could turn into 5 times on any category spending like groceries or dining. And this is from Keith. I will again defer before I jump over to my answer. Let's go over to Tariq. Tariq, what is the most underrated, no annual fee, non-Wells Fargo Attune card? I don't know why you would say the Attune, but let's go.
I think the Attune was directed to you, or even me, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned it as well. Most underrated. It's kind of a hard one, especially for thinking of like the cards like in the that are at least transferable to points and miles, because a lot of the no annual fee cards are like well regarded. Like my first thought was the Freedom Flex, but I mean, you could throw a rock and hit a Freedom Flex video on YouTube. So, and it to some extent, even the Eaton Cash. I guess out of all of them that are non-cash back cards, because we can go cash back and probably even say like what you can go niche like Redstone Credit Union Visa or even the Costco Anywhere Visa. But again, we're not. I don't think I want to do this more towards strictly cash back. I guess out of all of them, probably the Capital One Saver one, just because it's Capital One's in comparison to Chase, American Express, Citi, and even Wells Fargo. It's even though the Venture X is a really highly regarded card. The Saber one, even like with the duo, is not talked about as much from what I've seen compared to like other no annual fee cards. And it's a really good earner. So you're gonna get 3x on grocery, 3x on dining, 3x on entertainment. And as of right now, you get like 2 more months of Uber One and the Capital One Entertainment. So I think that's my case. But really, the more underrated cards are going to be like your cashback, no annual fee cards, mostly because points cards are going to be talked a lot more than your strictly cashback cards, from what I've observed, just being a YouTube viewer.
Sure. RJ, your answer here, and I think I know it.
I have a cheat answer and I have a real answer, and I don't think you're going to get either of them.
Hit me.
So my cheat answer is a card that is the first year is $0 and then it's $95. But it is technically free for the first year, which is the US Bank Shopper Cash Rewards, because you get 6% cash back, and one of them is my beloved Apple. And getting 6% cash back on Apple could be, $1,000. It's Apple. Who knows? They charge $750 for wheels. But you can also get like Best Buy, IKEA, Lowe's, Target, Wayfair, Walmart. So it is the option to get quite a lot of cash back depending on how you shop. You get 2 of those. You also get 3% on bills or home utility, gas, EV charging, or wholesale clubs. You pick one of those. Getting wholesale clubs at 3% cash back is not common, and it could be very nice. And then 1.5% cash back all else, which is also not super common because usually it's 1% for everything else. That is my cheat answer because it does have an annual fee afterwards. My real answer is going to be the Cash Plus Visa from US Bank because it is no annual fee all the time. 2 categories for 5%, 2% back on another category, and then 1% on all else. I really went with the underrated in this, so I didn't want to do the Freedom Flex or the Blue Business Plus or anything like that because those are not underrated cards. We talk about them in this community so much. The Blue Business Plus, I think, is an underrated design of a card. I think it's one of the prettiest Amex cards, and I have a lot of Amex cards to compare it to, and it's real pretty. But yeah, those would be my answers. I think US Bank is genuine underlooked a lot because they don't have transfer partners. You can do the points a different way, either wiping away purchases or through their portal. But for cashback, I don't care if you have a transfer portal or not because it's cashback.
You were right. I wouldn't have guessed either, but I love the US Bank Cash Plus. Is definitely a card I have room for, and a card that I wish Chase would just blindly steal.
What did you think I was going to pick? Because now I'm interested.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with the Blue Business Plus. So egg on my face there. Lonnie, your thoughts on the most underrated, no annual fee, non-Wells Fargo attune card?
Well, now I got 3 answers because I'm going to pull a RJ in my middle answer. Y'all probably know which way I'm about to go. But at first, in the, if the Ghost of Christmas Past was here, it would have been the Built card if it was like 2 or 3 months ago. Highly underrated, highly powerful, ain't the same in the days of Christmas present. We're just going to call it what it is. Hopefully it will be again in the days of Christmas future. Stop right there. Now, pull my RJ answer of $0 first year, $95 every year after that. United Mileage Plus Explorer, let's just call it what it is. That card comes with so much heat. It is packing heat in its back pocket. It's not even conceal and carry. It is like hanging it on its chest. That sucker is way, way, way more overpowered than what people give it credit to, especially if you understand how to use it and you start combining it with other things. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about this real quick, because you can actually use it as a catch-all card. when you really stop and think about it, it covers you for travel, it covers you for dining, it covers you for multiple things. You get other Chase offers with it as well, plus all these different United benefits. I believe the points guide values a United mile at 1.3 to 1.8 cents per point, depending on what time. Sorry, I can't speak today. Time of year it is. But if you have that card and you start getting your saver awards or even more discounts from having status with United, that 1.3 to 1.8 easily now is worth over 2 cents per point, up to 3 cents per point for each individual one of those United miles. And you don't have to transfer them out. You can book directly through United, and those miles are probably some of the most versatile award miles out there. Flights, cars, hotels, cruises, vacation packages, all sorts of things. So I'm going to steal RJ's answer and go with United. Now, my real answer is I'm going to agree with Keith if we go with Keith's question with the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card, because yes, that hidden 5X. Um, if you understand how to play the category game, you can really max that out. And I've mentioned this before in a lot of my other videos. Is my favorite thing is not just to use it on my internet, my phone bill, but I go through Verizon Play Plus subscriptions and I get all my subscriptions through there, which counts as a Verizon purchase, as comes through as an internet service provider slash telco. So I get 5X on every single one of my subscriptions. So Paramount, Netflix, YouTube TV, all of them. Like, just go to the website and check it out. I've talked about this in previous videos. So that alone, like, yes, you can. I Even though I don't need it, because I get free Hulu and Disney Plus through Verizon, because I've been with the customer with them so long, but I still that's add Hulu where I can use my platinum card just for the 17.99 ad free Hulu and get that waived out 100%. But Inc. Business Cash and just getting all your subscriptions through it. And for y'all that are listening, you do not need to be a Verizon customer to sign up for Verizon Play Plus subscription. That is two separate charges.
I have to hop on Verizon Play Plus at some point. I'm probably going to push all my YouTube through that and maybe one or two other streaming subscriptions. Because I do hold the Wells Fargo tune, and it gets 4% on streaming, but I still don't have transfer partners yet to really exercise the card. So, no annual fee, underrated, non-Wells Fargo tune cards. Well, Keith, the Wells Fargo autograph card is one of the only no annual fee cards that gets you transfer partners. So I'm going to go with that one as one card. 3 times points on streaming, phone services, comes with cell phone protection. 3 times points on travel and transport, travel and transit. Wells Fargo's travel and transit categories as 2 separate categories equals out to about Chase's travel category. I wish Wells would just take their travel and transit and make it one category. Whatever. 3 times points on gas and EV charging, and the ability to transfer your points out at no annual fee. That card, super underrated as soon as Wells Fargo figures out its transfer partner situation. Other cards with no annual fee that I'll throw out there that we haven't talked about, the Hilton Honors card. The no annual fee Hilton Honors card gets you a base of 3 times Hilton points on all purchases, 5 times Hilton points at gas, grocery, and dining. 7 times Hilton points when booking at Hilton. Comes with Hilton Silver status, which that 7 times points becomes more like, I think it's 13 or 14 times points with your silver status and the boosts that you can get from there. And if you're booking with like extra boosts that Hilton will offer along the way, then you're set there. The IHG Traveler card with no annual fee is also a pretty strong card for IHG specific spend. I believe its base is 3 times points. Lonnie or Tariq, please keep me honest on that one if you know. Okay.
I'll have to double check. You're in the right ballpark, but I don't want to confirm
Okay.
until I can verify.
No worries. That also comes, I believe, with IHG. IHG's like next step up from basic membership, but also a pretty good way to build out your IHG points very quickly. And then the chasing cash, like there's no arguing that the chasing cash, if you know how to use it, is a very, very strong card, especially if you get into things like, um, you want to live the Chase life and live in the Chase ecosystem at all times. But hey, Chase doesn't let you get 5 times points on it. It doesn't let you get a solid grocery or gas category. Well, the chasing cash, you can pick up a Visa gift card or MasterCard gift card for that amount, you get 5 times points. This could get mitigated if Chase could just figure out, a permanent grocery and gas category, but neither here nor there. Yeah.
Waiting.
So, yeah,
Impatiently.
we will wait until we die. Wells will figure out their transfer partner game and win the credit card space before Chase actually figures out putting on a gas and grocery category. I will put that up there right now. So yeah, there's 3 cards: the Wells Fargo autograph, the Hilton Honors, and the IHG Traveler card. All very underrated, no annual fee credit cards that I'll put out there.
So wanted to confirm on the IHG Traveler, Matt, right now, just looking it up. It actually still has an elevated sign-up bonus of 100,000 IHG points, which is with 2,000 and spend in 3 months. You get silver status, you get the fortnight free benefits, and it's up to 17x IHG points if you're booking cash through IHG property. I think, except the Crown Plaza, I think it's 5x, and then 3x on the dining, utilities, select streaming services and gas stations, and then 2x everywhere else. And then another card that I kind of thought of when you brought up the Hilton Honors card, the Marriott Bonvoy Bold. And it's probably just because of the elevated sign-up offer. I don't know if it's going to be like they're going forward or it's just like a short-term thing. After with 2,000 spend in 3 months, you get 60,000 Marriott points and a free night cert. So, like, if you value Marriott and you don't want to get into any of the annual fees, because they can range, from the 95 all the way up to 650, that's there. And then you get silver status, which is the same on the Bonvoy Boundless for some reason. But yeah, that was just another one that I just happened to think about when you mentioned the Hilton Honors card.
How did none of us say the Amex Everyday card? I can't believe that card was such disrespected on this podcast.
You are the Amex
had a
queen
chance to
here.
speak.
That is your thing.
You had a chance to
There was
speak.
nobody to blame but yourself.
Guys, I'm kidding. It's a terrible, terrible card.
Before we really dump on RJ for not choosing that card, just remember that card is a dumpster fire.
Still had a chance to speak.
That card is so bad, even a mother could not love that card. It is Amex. Call me. We'll talk about the everyday and everyday preferred. Just they hurt me. They hurt me in my soul, or where the soul should be located.
Yeah, so additionally, with all of those no annual fee cards, if you do your bookings with IHG or Marriott or Hilton, if you do your bookings through Rakuten with those cards, you can also get some additional bonuses through Rakuten or Top Cashback or any other additional receipt or cashback app as well. So always think about ways you can stack on cashback in addition to the points that you're earning. Which brings us to our last question from Anthony Both, which is more of a statement. I'd love to see more point stacking examples on earning and on redemptions. The redemption side, I'll probably leave more to Lonnie, but on the earning side, we talk about mileage plus X way more than most other podcasts ever would dream to. We'll start talking more. I've recently downloaded Dosh. I've recently downloaded Top Cashback. I've recently downloaded Ibotta. I've recently downloaded a whole slew of cashback apps to use to try and put them in conjunction where, like, I'm going to try to live life not worrying about a grocery category and just find other ways to get grocery taken care of. Same with wholesale. If I'm choosing not to live my secret 3 times grocery category through Chase.
You mind if I go next?
Yeah, go
'Cause
for it.
I want to give a special shout out to Anthony Bove. This is coming from me. So fun fact, you guys, Anthony found my channel, my very second video I ever uploaded. So I've known this dude for probably almost a year. Uh, so Anthony, thank you. And for those that have not came to my channel yet or left me a comment, weird enough, my mnemonic memory, I actually remember all these types of weird things. I remember people very well. I remember conversations very well. So hit subscribe, start having a conversation with me. I've talked about this before. Chad of Chad's Money Minutes subscribed to my channel before I even got to 100. But I remember Anthony Bove and I having conversations on my very second video, which is, well, it was my second video. So it was my very first point stacking video I ever put out. And I recently did a recent point stacking video just a couple of weeks ago. So come by my channel, check it out. But no, I totally agree. The only problem is when it comes to point stacking, it almost is as intricate and as complicated as what's the best card I should get type of a question. Like, how does an airplane work? It's not a short answer, and every single person is different because you might shop at places I don't shop at. You might live in areas that I don't live in. But there are so many different ways to point stack, you know, some of the basics. One, even if you don't fly United, just use the United Mileage Plus X app. You'll earn United miles, and eventually you will have enough United miles to actually get another free trip based on the purchases that you're already making. There are so many stores and retailers in there, it's not even funny. The other aspect is, as I mentioned earlier, playing the category game, um, which if you're in anywhere in central US, North America, the one part that I really get about the category game that bothers me the most is like if you go to like a Bucky's or an Oasis gas station that's on the side of the road, you know, that has like the restaurants and the shopping all in one place. Well, sometimes those code as gas stations, or they code as at a restaurant, or they code as a store, and you don't know which card to use when you pull up. So that's my metaphor of how complicated point stacking can get. But I'm happy to like have a deeper conversation with any of you guys. Like I said, drop it in my comments, drop me an email, and we can figure out your world, what cards you have, and how to like make sure that you maximize every single transaction. So I'm here for you. That's it.
Yep.
Anthony, I appreciate you. You've been rocking with me literally from like day 2. So thank you very much.
And I will try to incorporate more point stacks as I get them going, and probably in topics and things like that as I go forward. But we're gonna try to do our best. I can't propose a point stack of the week section because we're already running about 2 hours every week. So if I offer any more topics or any more segments, I do feel that our executive producer will probably kill me. Yeah, they confirm. So we're going to try our best there and go from there. But that will do it for questions for this week. We do have a ton of future questions as well, so we're going to get those, get through those as best we can. But thank you so much for everyone who has submitted questions. If you want to submit questions to the podcast, just use the comment section of our YouTube videos. You can email us questions, stackyourpoints@gmail.com. We also have the Stack Your Points Discord. That is another way to utilize it. We have a subsection called, I believe it's podcast questions. So join the Discord, leave us a line on YouTube, send us an email. We'll do our best to get to you. So that's gonna do it for questions.
Hey, Matt, do you want to tell the people how this podcast is about to change wildly?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into that. So we are breaking up the podcast into a couple of different means for engagement on YouTube. So there will be a basic segment that is going to come out on Mondays. We will have Wednesdays now is going to be our Q&A, I believe is Wednesday.
Wednesday is going to be the main show, which is going to be the topics and if there's any news. And then Friday will be the Q&A. Saturday, I'm going to post the entire show. So if you want start to finish, you can listen to that on Saturday. But we're going to break it up because sometimes we go a little long on Q&A or topics or whatever, and it's nice to have an hour chunk instead of a 2-hour chunk.
Or today, 2.5. So with that, RJ, if folks want to find you, where's the best place to find you on the interwebs?
You can find me answering comments to this podcast because Tariq still hasn't put up a YouTube channel, but when he does, you can find me at Do You Take Cards?
And Lonnie, where can we find you?
I got nothing funny tonight. You're gonna find me in bed. It is absolutely late, y'all. So I know you're probably watching this at like 9, 10 a.m. or listening to this at 9, 10 a.m. It is not that time when we're recording it. So I got nothing funny. But I am on YouTube at my channel name is Call Me Lonnie, all one word. Lonnie spelled Lani. Come over, say hi, say you came to the podcast. Hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. I'm actually pushing my way towards 3,000 right now. So I would really appreciate your support.
Fantastic. Tariq, where can we find you on the internet since it's not a YouTube channel?
Well, you can find me at Lot C of the Alamo Dome because football season is back and I am an avid UTSA football fan. So, I'll also be in the Second Points podcast, Discord. But other than that, God bless and birds up.
RJ, I'm so sorry that it's going to be like March before you're able to upload again.
Oh, yeah. College football's back. Don't even... You picked the wrong time.
Don't even have to put a video out, sir. Just start the channel.
Start a channel. Just start a channel. Just start a channel. Just start a channel. If you want to leave us comments, please do on the YouTube channel. Find us on your favorite podcatcher of choice, be it Icecast, Pocket Cast, Castro, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify. I am running out of, I think Pandora does podcasts now. Wherever you find your podcasts, we are there. Leave us a comment down below on the YouTube channel if you want to as well. Leave us those 5-star reviews. We will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Real quick, Matt. Real quick, before we officially bow out, going back to Tariq starting his channel. For all y'all that are listening here, I know we just started this a couple of weeks, maybe a couple months ago. Let's do a digital petition. In the comments, say, Tariq, you start a channel and I will subscribe. That's at least 100 subscribers right there, Tariq. So we get enough people.
But then I got to actually post the video because I'm going to have like 100-something subscribers.
Shut up.
That was never the deal.
Shut up.
That was never the deal.
I'm still talking because this is for the people that are supporting you and listening to you in your nonsense week after week after week. If they drop it in the comments saying, I will support Tariq's new channel or Tariq must create a channel, you cannot ignore the listeners and viewers of RJ, Matt, and myself. Thus, you have to do it. And we know we're kicking you off right because all these people are also going to sub to your brand new channel as well. I think we need a digital petition. We're not asking you anymore. The community's asking. Your listeners are asking. Are you going to ignore your listeners? Because you're not going to ignore my listeners, and I'm pretty sure RJ and Matt feel the same. Thank you very much, y'all. Y'all have a great night.
I hate y'all. I love the viewers, but I'm talking to my 3 co-hosts. I hate y'all right now.
Again, you don't have to post a video. You just have to start the channel. Put up a little community post. Channel coming soon. UTSA football first.
And then UTSA basketball.
Sir, you're pushing your luck. With that,
the reason why I'm in the corner.
Thanks for watching Second Points. We'll be back next week. Thanks as always.